Greetings and salutations, race fans, motorsport lovers, and others. You know who you are. And welcome to episode 90 of Waved Yellow. You will see we have a breeder of speed with us, Iian Pepper. And Gary, eventually, it's 6:45. It's Wednesday, so it's Waved Yellow. Welcome. Gary, how's it? You made it eventually.
Colin, thank you very much.
You've got a microphone,
yes.
Hey?
Iian Pepper, nice to see you again.
Ian, thank you very much. You a jet setter of note, fresh out of Belgium. Thanks for joining us at such short notice.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here again. I enjoy the show.
Thanks. We know our production department. Gary, I want you to talk to our production people.
Yes.
Because you know how they agreed that we'd have proper notice for the guests so they can get the transport and the helicopter and that sort of stuff. I mean, WTF. For those of you who know.
And those who don't?
Well, sorry for you, it's a family show. Episode 90, we start off with, first of all, congratulations, breeder of speed machines, on Jordan Pepper's birthday.
Yeah, he's turned the glad old age of 23 today, and I wouldn't say I'm the breeder. You got to give that all to his mom, eh?
Did you have anything to do with it?
I hope so.
So shout out to Jordan Pepper. Super happy birthday. And then on a personal note, shout out to my sister Pamela in Australia. I know by now you're fast asleep because you're old. She's my older sister, Gary, so she's really old.
Compared to you, most people are old.
Gary.
I'm not old, I'm ancient.
Gary.
Yes.
Anyway. And also Carl Larson, him of NASCAR, which brings us very neatly to, you know how the discussions we've been having recently
Yeah.
about sharing and caring and stuff. Denny Hamlin, not Denny Mushroom, because sometimes... no, moving on. Denny Hamlin won at Pocono last weekend. He drilled Kevin Harvick, who came in fourth. Sad day. And then one of the other things that happened, one of the highlights, before we get to Gary and I spent Friday and Saturday at Swartkorps. Awesome racing. We spent Sunday at Midval checking out the drags, brother, at the 011 Street Society Cash Days, brother. Gary, my eyes were open, my arse.
There was some smart kit at that event, eh? Yo.
The judge. All the cars have got names. There's Baby Cressida. It's got a 2JC turbo, and excuse me if I've got it wrong, but like a 6-cylinder Toyota motor with
all I can say
turbos this big.
God, they had hair dryers like this. Serious.
But so the judge does an 8:30 something on an unprepared road. Now, apparently in drags, there's a whole lot of preparation and staff and all the rest of it. But I learned bucket loads standing next to that car at its launch. And the way it bolts. Unbelievably impressive. The other thing that got me, there were two things. The general level of preparation. These oaks are just street drags, guys.
Yeah.
Generally, there's a road, some say. Somewhere in the deep south, they tell me.
Behind the brewery.
No, you're not allowed to say that. Now you've given the whole thing away. But they go and they have proper street drags. Shut off the road. You've watched Street Outlaws. This is Street Outlaws. It is deluxe. So the level of respect between the organizers and the competitors, and most importantly, between the competitors and the organizers. I tell you what. Motorsport South Africa, do yourself a favor. You know that officials like to official. We've got someone from half part of motorsports. We can all learn a bucket load. So competitors, do yourself a favor. Respect the officials. That was the one thing. The other thing was just the general level of preparation and neatness and pride and joy that these guys had in their cars. Unbelievable.
I've heard, like you said earlier, 5,000 people that arrive and line the main straight at Midval.
Ian, from where we were at the end of the main straight, all the way down, they were deep, and there was.
No, but the cars are parked like this, five deep, and gazebos. I didn't know there were so many gazebos in the Val Triangle area. Just gazebos, like and braais and party and people just having a jolt.
I'll tell you what, at 9 o'clock in the morning, in fact at probably 9:15, I saw my first butt with a beer in his hand. But
It wasn't 9:15, but that was 8:15.
The oak who took the prize for me was his mate, because he had a Captain Morgan and Coke in his hand before 9 o'clock in the morning. What a blast. It was absolutely fantastic. We're going to get to you just now, because we were, unlike some of us who went to Spa and places and stuff, and for the 18 hours of Spa,
some guys go all the way to Spa just to get a rain shower.
There was there was brilliant racing, G&H Transport, Extreme Supercars there, at Swartkorps. There was even GTC cars was great. And Robbie Walk from WCT. Gary, I've got to work this out carefully.
WCT and
WCT, is that world class? Yeah, I got it right. World class team. Because there's another version of it. For those of you who want to know, do yourself a favor, or do us a favor, and Ian a favor. If you want to know anything about anything, just type it in the comments, and Ian will answer. And there was a moment that at that race that could have turned nasty. I thought Jack handles were going to fly. The third race between Charles Arangis and Franco Scribanti was unbelievable. Franco started way back. He caught Charles. Charles made his cars wider. It's the widerest McLaren
I've ever
in the
seen.
world.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of blocking and brake checking and all the rest of it. Yeah, Charles, we know. We watched the video. And then they touched, and the McLaren ended up sideways. And afterwards, the way Franco got out of his car and came straight to him and said, "But sorry, racing incident," and we were there. And
the best way to tell him is actually go and watch the interviews after race 3, because we had these two guys, and
I promise you, we're standing in between.
He's about
now
to
there's a bit of
Charles.
juice between them, eh?
And I look over my shoulder, I see Franco still with his helmet on. So I went, "Franco, come." And he comes walking along, and the way, Franco walks, sometimes you don't know whether he's aggressive or not aggressive. And he walks up and he just goes like this to Charles. "Thank you very much." And then they took their helmets off. And then he interviewed these two guys. But the interview shot, or what I call the money shot, was actually understanding what happened on the racetrack and watching these two guys interact with one another. It was so pleasing just to see guys
great
prepared
sportsmanship,
to go and have fun, maybe a little bit of rubbing, but still be able to do that and still walk away feeling
rubbing in multi-million rand motor cars.
just a bit. And then there was a Grand Prix. It was kind of lacquer, but anyway.
Some guys have difficulty driving in the wet.
Well,
Silver cars.
and if you bitch and moan about a slippery piece of road and you're off the road already, well, sorry for you. If it was a Monaco, the thing would have been broken. So suck it up, buttercup. Have a teaspoon of cement and harden up. The Spa, 18 hours. Kelvin van der Linde and his team in the Audi surprisingly came 30th, because we say surprising because there were doubts. Some say there were doubts that car was ever going to finish. In 46 was Gennaro Bonafide. Gennaro, you had a baptism of fire. It was unbelievable. Well done on finishing. And then 49th, Geordie in the Bentley, but that was BOP'd to forever.
I don't know what went down with the BOP, but SRO added a whole lot of weight, took a lot of millibars of boost out. So they were on the back foot to start the weekend already, and they knew it. They were good enough for a top 5 finish, I think. It just didn't play out that way with pit stops and all the stuff that goes down, and then they got a drive-through penalty because Jordan supposedly bumped off Calvin's one teammate in Calvin's car, and he spun and lost it. But, Jordan caught the guy 6 seconds that lap and went up his inside, and I got a fright when he turned in and Jordan was there and spun it on some wet patch. So
Some say that some of Kelvin's teammates, were watching the qualifying live, and I mean the guy went out first. I can't remember his name, but he put them out of any contention. 3 seconds off the pace. It was a bit crazy.
Not talking about Gennaro, are you?
No, we're talking about Kelvin. Gary.
Kelvin.
Gary.
Just asking.
You know how it works.
Okay, hold on.
I want you to focus.
Hold on.
No.
Okay.
Gary,
Yeah.
it's Wednesday night.
Yes.
It was 7:15.
Yes.
We're talking, this is Waved Yellow, number 90.
Yeah.
Focus, Brew. Get with the program.
Pay attention.
So, how was that race? Just as, because you were there.
Look, the whole week I was there. We were with Tasman in Essen the weekend before in Sheldon for Formula W and DTM. So I stayed with my other daughter Morgan and Jordan, and we went over to Spa. So we got there on Monday afternoon, and Tuesday they start with the bronze tests. I think it was 5 hours or something, or 4 hours, 5 hours on Tuesday afternoon. And I must admit, Gennaro Bonafide did everybody proud, himself, his father, the people that helped him get to this deal. And he opened a lot of eyes at the BMW guys. So he did fantastically. Then Wednesday, they do that parade through town. I mean, that's awesome. There's like 10,000 people watch these 72 GT3 cars not come racing into town. They pushed a lot of them eventually because they were overheating, standing in the queue to park. And it's just a big party there for like 5-6 hours with spectators mingling with the drivers, the cars, getting all the stuff done and interviews. And it's amazing. Thursday, the main, everybody got on the circuit and did their testing and practicing, and things went well for Geordie and them. They were going. They were quick, but not quick enough. But I think they had race pace to get there. Kelvin was unbelievable. I mean, that first stint he did from where they qualified, I think they qualified 31st, if I'm not mistaken. And because the drivers in the cars, in the past, it used to be the quickest lap time would give you a position. Now, like where he's got amateur drivers with him, like you said, 3-4 seconds off the pace. The pro puts it on pole, and then they give the amateur 4 seconds off the pace to start the race, and it was mayhem in the past.
So just to go back for people who haven't been focusing, if you haven't been focusing, there's a great website and they explain all the rules.
I'm focusing. I thought
pay attention. Ian, just have a quick walk through. There's 4 qualifying sessions and how it works.
So normally in all the Blancpain series there's only 3 drivers per car, but at Spa in that 24 hours they have 4. In the amateur teams they can have 4 drivers. So there's qualifying 1, 2, 3 and 4. The car gets filled up with enough fuel to do all the qualifying sessions. Generally they all get a new set of rubber to qualify, and the cars with 3 in only start their first driver gets in at qualifying 2. Then they add all the times together of the guys in the car, divide by 3 or 4, and they come up with a lap time.
So you've got an average lap time, and that average lap time of all the drivers determines grid position.
That's exactly true. So like when Geordie went out, and he was first out normally because he starts the races in their team. It was him and then Kane and then Jules. Jordan actually put it second on the grid, like 0.0 something off of pole in his session, but the red flag came out 3 seconds before he crossed the line, so they lost that lap.
No time.
That was it. So
and he's taken the life out of the tyre.
It appeared on the screen, and 10 seconds later it disappeared because of the red flag. So he could only get to within 8 tenths. Now, for them to get to top 20 Super Pole, they were looking for eventually 0.006 of a second to be 20th.
They made it to 21st.
They were 21st, so they started the race 21st. And the way the rain came down at the start, they gambled with some certain tyre pressures that they thought it would be heavier rain, and it wasn't. It calmed down a bit. So their tyres after 2 laps overheated. And he managed to work his way back to about 31st. In the first hour, then they put another set on at the right pressure, and he worked his way back up to the top 10. But I mean, Kelvin came through, I think it was 31st or 36. Kelvin drove that car in his first stint to put the thing 3rd overall at the end of his stint, and then it worked its way back to like 30th, and then came forward 1 or 2, and then Kelvin got back in the car and it moved a hell of a lot further back up into the top 5 again, and then carried on working its way backwards. So,
and Gennaro had a nightmare of The race started off or the meeting started off as a nightmare when I had turned on my computer on Thursday night to watch the streaming, and I see this black BMW bouncing out of the wall. But you say that he bounced back and drove properly, particularly at the end.
Yeah, look, Gennaro never hit the wall or anything.
No, it was his teammate. Sorry, no, Gennaro never didn't do all of that. It was his teammate. It was Mr. Anker, William Anker, who hit the wall. And
The first lap. I mean, he hadn't got halfway around on the first lap of the warm-up to start his qualifying session. That guy, he was the first driver out, and halfway around the circuit he put in the wall, nice 50,000 euro damages, and they couldn't qualify, so they were going to start at the back of the grid. Gennaro, for his first time out there, I tell you what, I was over the moon and impressed with the way the kid drove.
New car, new track, new experience.
Yeah, it was new car, new track and that, but given he'd been there 3 weeks ago and done 2 days testing, so he knew, and he had a lot of time to think about it before he went back. Now, Calvin and Jordan gave him a hell of a lot of information and helped him, and like typical South African kids that have grown up together, they're passionate about the same thing.
How cool is that the kids all like just pull together as because we all Saffers are doing a good thing.
Yeah, it was like being in a race at Swartkops or Kyalami or Cape Town. I mean, they were in our pit, we were in their pit, Calvin was with us, we were with Gennaro. It was all over good fun. I mean, we went on a track walk on Monday evening or Tuesday evening, I think it was. Yeah, Tuesday evening. Jordan went on a track walk, so Vita and myself and Morgan, my other daughter, followed, and we walked a circuit with all the info that Jordan was giving him with their main team manager and stuff as well. It just helps, and look, Gennaro helped them. And Gennaro's pace by the end of the weekend, you could see it at the finish. He managed to be second in queue when the second last yellow full caution and safety car came out.
And that was behind the Porsche that won.
Yeah, that's behind the Porsche that won, and there were guys that were in the top 10 just behind him. And when the flag dropped and they would go racing the first time, Gennaro went with the Porsche, and he wasn't slow. And then there was another yellow flag, and he went with the Porsche again until the finish. So, yeah, his pace was there. Another bit of time in the car, and I think he could be a contender.
And, you know, we have reached out to Gennaro for him to come back because he's been quite open and really willing to talk to us, which is a really cool thing that Gary and I are learning, that drivers talk. And he created a bit of a stir and a bit of interest up and down the pit lane.
Yeah, he opened a lot of eyes out there. I know the guys, Vankelos, were next to us in the pits, next to Bentley and that, and they were talking to him, and he's trying to do a deal to get them to come out here for the 9 hour. And yeah, there were a lot of people that were very impressed with what he never bent the car. He put it off once, but it never hit anything or damaged, and he reversed and got it back onto the circuit. He made one mistake the whole weekend. So hats off to Gennaro and his dad and the team that put it all together. He did a bloody good job.
Speaks volumes to the level of talent that we've got in this country, with drivers coming up and maybe needing to believe, some of the guys who think that the dream of overseas is impossible. You've got to take a huge risk and a lot of hard work. We've got talent in this place.
Oh, we've got a lot of talent, and it's not just in circuit racing. I mean, you go back to the world champions in motocross in the past, and the guys that are out there at the moment overseas with motocross, the bikes, cars, little Stewie White, Tasman and them over there. There's guys all over that have got huge talent in South Africa from such a small little country with such a small motorsport base compared to the rest of the world. We've got a lot of talent.
Talking about talent and overseas, Gary, we spoke about WCT a little bit earlier. Achim is in Romaniacs with his bike. Oak's a lunatic. Proper lunatic, but all the best for Romaniacs, Achim.
Stage 1 today in the silver class. I think Achim was 30th.
Well, thanks. That's why we like having you here, because you've got your finger on every pulse.
Riders.
So what's he on, a what?
He's on a Husqvarna.
Is that like a KTM that's blue?
No, it's a upgraded KTM. They're now white.
But they come out of the same family?
Same family, same factory.
Is that like Audi and VW?
Yeah, basically the same thing, yeah.
Or VW and Porsche?
Audi and Lamborghini.
There you go, Audi and Lamborghini. Gary, you're not allowed to say stuff like that. End of November. Kyalami 9 hour, you were at the briefing a couple of weeks ago. And it's very interesting to see, you've got experience, you've got a lot of experience going around GD3 races. What's your advice to South Africans who want to get involved in this thing and have a go?
Look, the guys, it's going to cost money, and I think they all understand that. But when you look at like what Gennaro and then the money it cost them to do what they did over there, it's on your back doorstep. It's where you can go play at Kyalami and your friends and your families and everybody are here. And I don't know, guys, if you got the opportunity, go and do it. It doesn't come around every year. Hopefully this is a thing to stay for the next couple of years, the 9 hour. And I seriously believe the guys here in South Africa, I don't think they're going to win it. By no manner of means are they going to win it. But there are classes that they could go and do well in.
And at least be part of it. And I saw, Gary, the SRO have stuck out the calendar for next year.
Yeah.
It's I think the 22nd and 23rd of November
Next
in
year.
2020,
Okay.
which is a really good thing. And we know that 31 cars are coming. There are no factory cars in GD3. Well, but they're not run by Bentley, they run by M Sport. But
M Sport run the factory program, and then you've got the guys in the other teams that are coming. There's 10 factory teams coming out.
And we got 31 cars entered. The last one.
We had 31 cars when we went to that meeting.
Yeah, I think they're up to 38 or 40.
Yeah. It's 40.
If I'm not mistaken, because there's a few more cars coming now from overseas.
Well, Wayne Riddell was over there hunting down and sharing the good news. Did you see him there and have a chat to him?
Yeah, we saw him quite often and had a chat to him. He spoke a lot to our kids that are over there in the teams they're in, and he was doing a lot of marketing and that for this 9 hour. There was the security, I don't know if you call them that, the guys in charge of whatever goes down at Kyalami. They were there with their whole team. There's a whole crew from Kyalami. They're not taking this lightly. They've gone out there, they spent the week in Spa, saw how the crowd control's done, how the pits are run, what they need and all that, and they did a lot of homework, and I think it's very positive.
I've been quite impressed with some of the stuff, from behind the scenes in going through the accreditation, Gary, that we have to try and get part of this. The Sean Edwards Trust, SET.
It's like writing a matric exam.
It's worse than that, Gary.
Is it?
And it's all online. And
Because he's done his, I've got to do one tomorrow morning.
But everybody has to do it, whether you're a marshal, a driver, a team member, and your guys have done that test and clearly have passed it.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, they've got a whole thing to get their licenses every year, the internationals. There's a whole thing. They've got to do an anti-doping exam for the FIA every year, their medicals and all that. They've got to pass all these different tests to get their international licenses to race at this level.
Now, the commitment that Kyalami has put into it, and, if you're negative about it, do yourself a favor. It's quite easy. Change your mind, because it's racing. It's South African international. This is world championship stuff, Gary.
This is one of the few international events happening on our soil here in South Africa, with the most South Africans ever seen in one platform.
Yeah, but in not the old 9 hours where you had Porsche 917s and Renault Gordinis.
No,
They're all in proper stuff.
I'm talking a world championship event, because the old 9 hour wasn't a world championship, it was just an event. I'm talking about a world championship series.
FIA accredited.
Yeah. Okay.
And we count, what was our last count, Gary? 12 South Africans.
12 South Africans at this stage will be in the event come November.
I think that's absolutely awesome.
And of those 12, 3 cars are actually sitting in this country at the moment. They just got to get them BOP'd, as you know that one. And I'll leave that to you. You can look after the BOP thing.
Balance of playing.
Yeah, balance of paying or playing?
Playing.
Playing, okay.
But that's part of motorsport, is the balance of paying. And of this weekend, give us 2 or 3 highlights for you out of the Spa race, and also the most difficult part of it.
I think when it gets like around the midnight time, and especially with the rain and stuff. I know Jordan was out there and he did his first double stint. They all double stinted, and the rain kept coming and kept going, and it never really got dry. In his second stint, he did a triple stint, and I think he was one of the first guys to come in and call for slicks. And that circuit, at the top end it can be raining and the pits it's dry, or vice versa. So I mean, he called for the slicks. He went out the second hour of his second stint, and he purple sectors. Then all of a sudden other teams started diving in when their pit windows were open, type of thing that they'd strategized. And it came on the radio. I had to sit with the radio and stuff the whole day or the whole race, because I was looking after car 108 and 107's drivers with making sure they got the right drinks and all that sort of stuff.
So they made you work?
Yeah,
You played like a bit of a waiter out there, were you?
yeah, and you go and wake them up and you make sure that they've got their stuff, they're ready to go when they need them and all that sort of stuff. So you sit and listen to the drivers on the radio, and they don't talk a lot. It's all copy when the engineers and they talk to them. But there's a hell of a lot of talking going on between the engineers and mechanics and the guys on the pit wall and all that sort of stuff.
Now that stuff doesn't go to the driver. There's two channels, and you clearly had a driver channel and team channel open.
Yeah, I didn't talk or anything, but I just sit and listen to it while it's going on. And when he came on and said he wants slicks, and they put slicks on and he went out, then the other guys started doing it. Then Jules Gounon was supposed to get in the car, and they asked Jordan if he's okay and whatever through the stint. Jules was busy getting ready, and Jordan said, look, I'll do another stint because I know what the circuit is. Now to put Jules out here on slicks, I can manage it. I know what the circuit's doing.
Yeah.
And you come into the pits, temperature comes out of the slicks, then go back in, risks are super high.
Yeah, super high. Learning the circuit now at night, it's not daytime. They can't see a hell of a lot out there. So, yeah, he did a triple stint and did a good job for it. And then Jules got in, and they were going very well. At one stage, they were up to fourth.
Did Jules manage to get it out of the pits without turning the car off?
Yeah, no. Jules never turned the car off. That
Who was the guy in Aussie who did that?
Andy Suchek.
He's not driving for them anymore, is he?
Yeah, he was driving in the 110. He actually drove the car that did finish, that completed it. And then Geordie and them had an electrical problem with battling to downshift, and he had to reset the ECUs while he's driving. Then it cut out, and then it came back on again. And in a pit stop, when they dropped him to go, it switched off. So it took them about 5 laps to sort the problem out, and then they got back on the circuit. So.
And you're not allowed, when the car's down, you're not allowed to push start it. It's got to start each time on its own power.
As far as I understand, yes, it has to start on its own power.
The hardest thing?
I think the hardest thing is to stay focused and...
Gary?
Look, the level of concentration in the rain at night, that sort of stuff is a hell of a lot more than if it was dry. It was cold, it was hard work out there for everybody, not just for us in the Bentley setup or whatever. It was hard work for everybody that was out there. And hats off to everybody that was out on the circuit. I think the hardest thing was the people partying at the sound stage over the road, and our best friend Matthew Hodges was centre stage, I think.
As he would be. What's next for you? Saturday, Tasman was running the Falcon Polo team at Swartkorps. Hell of impressive to watch a kid like that just operate. I believe there was a hotline on the phone to Belgium.
Yeah, we've been helping the Campos boys like we did last year. We formed a little together team when they came into polos. We got them there. So last year Tasman ran with the 2 boys, and I was always there, and Shane was there and all that to help them. This year without Tasman there, we've still stayed committed to them. We didn't walk away from it. So I don't go to a lot of the races with work and whatever, but Tasman's committed, and she goes and does their data and driver training and helps with setup and that, which I guide her on. So she's learned a hell of a lot, and yeah, it paid off on the weekend. I think they got top 6 finishes, and it's hard for me over there as well, trying to find out what's going on and where they are and what they're doing and set up and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, she does a good job at it.
So what's next on the racing calendar for Dad Pepper?
Well, as you can see, my wrists are out of plaster.
You're not getting on a bike again.
I'm actually going to go for my first ride in 10, 11 weeks on Sunday. Just try and get fit again, and I'll be racing off-road again next year with the Factory Husqvarna team that we sponsor through our business.
You do know that you're certifiably mad.
Some people say so, but you know what? Some people tell me I'm the oldest teenager on the block, but I'll enjoy it and whatever it is, and we might get back into a bit of circuit racing with something that's on the cards for GTC side of things, but we're waiting to see how that transpires. And
Interesting, Gary, you've got something. Hold that thought about GDC.
Matthew Hodges is online.
Matthew, I can guarantee you.
He's thumbs up and smiling, and he says, "It was a great weekend indeed. The boys did a proper job." Matthew,
What his boys party?
Matthew, were at the party or on the track?
Matthew, I can assure you that is 100% plain Coke. I was absolutely devastated and disappointed. He's let the side down. But you mentioned the business side of it, Pepson Plastics. You blow mold, and how are you finding things at the moment? One, and where do you think? What's the big thing that's coming for you in the new product developments going forward?
Look, business, we've been fortunate, 25 years we've been running. Business a bit quiet, but I think generally out there's not a hell of a lot of markets that are going hell for leather at the moment. The plastic industry is a bit slow. I just think it's a sign of the times. Got to pull your belts in and watch the pennies you spend and how you spend them. But we'll survive. It's not the first time we've been up and down like this in the industry, and I don't know. Product development, nothing major on the cards at the moment. We've got a few things in line with a few customers. Instead of importing, we're going to be making here.
That's a hell of an interesting thing. So bring the raw materials, well, depending on what it is. You got the raw materials here, bring the molds in and produce here instead of importing.
We manufacture our own molds here too.
That's surprising. You've got to be one of the few plastic companies that actually still does that. Is it?
No, we're not one of the few. There's a hell of a lot of good tool makers out there in South Africa.
Well, for sure. My understanding was that the imported tools were competitively priced.
Look, the imported tools are competitively priced, and it is sort of good stuff. But to try and get it's a lot of travelling backwards and forwards to China or wherever you're trying to get the tools out of to get them here. The process is long to get the thing where we can turn stuff around here a lot quicker. And I'm a big one for supporting local and not chopping and changing for 1 cent or 2 cents or whatever that happens out there. So I'm still with my original plastic supplier that helped me when I started the business 25 years ago. They gave me an account. And like the master batch, the colorings and that for the plastic and that same company that I still deal with, and I don't believe you need to change.
That sort of loyalty in business and loyalty in general is pretty scarce at the moment, but it certainly seems to have paid off well for you.
Well, it has worked in our favour. Sure, we might not be the cheapest in the market, but we offer a proper service and a quality product, and we can give you a turnkey project. We can make the bottle, we make the caps, we print on the bottle, and we send you what you've ordered.
So if I wanted to make, I don't know, Gary, if we were making a plastic gin bottle,
Yeah.
Mike McLaughlin, specially for you, if we're making a plastic gin bottle, you could design the thing, produce it, labeled it, and just bring it to our gin still, and we could bottle it.
100%.
Gary, are we going to go into the gin business or the rum business?
Well, at the moment, the way that people are chirping online of you is like...
I was wondering if anybody was watching.
Yeah, and I mean, guys, sponsor me. No. Nobody... Ian's not going to sponsor anybody before we put our quote in.
Yeah, but hold on. Just go to that whole sponsorship thing.
We're putting our pitch in first before you guys even get a shot at us. I'm not even going to mention or ask that question.
It's my belief that people sponsor not because, oh my God, I've got a bit of spare change, let me throw it at you. But there's a business imperative. You sponsor something because you hope that business grows.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's everybody's got their own way of trying to market things. And we use it as a marketing tool out there because in the motorsport industry, whether it's cars, bikes, off-road, drag racing, whatever, there's a hell of a lot of business out there that can be marketed for. And that's how we've approached it with the marketing through the motorsport.
2 tips that you've got, because through the years you've had a knack and an ability and a skill to develop good sponsorships and keep them for a long, long time. PG Glass is one of them. 2 tips for people who are looking for funding for their racing. What are your top 2 tips for them?
The way we always did it, PG Glass was very faithful to us. It started out as a little thing, and for 9 years it grew into quite a big deal. You got to look after your sponsors. You can't rip them off. And we had a basic thing: for every rand they give you, you give them back 10 rands worth of coverage. And if you do that, they seem to stay. And a lot of people try and find one massive sponsor. Rather split it up into 2-3 sponsors per race or per month, because some people go out there and they ring the sponsors and they get all the cash, they do 2 races and then they disappear because they spent the money on Mauritius holidays and all that sort of stuff. And you can laugh, I can laugh about it. You know, in your days how hard it was to get the money to go racing. And yeah, we've been fortunate that we've always managed to get sponsors together that pay and help us go racing, and it's our passion.
Ian, you mentioned GDC racing where there was a bit of a glint in your eye. We think, Gary, I'm led to believe our sources say. I'm told, apparently that's a new version. Okay. I'm told that there's some big things coming for particularly GTC 2 next year. Without giving things away, are you pretty bullish about it? How many cars are you running?
I've committed to do one. But hopefully Tasman won't be racing in South Africa next year because she makes the top 12 in the Formula W.
She's 9th at the moment, 1 race to go, and she's got to... we're shouting for a podium for her.
Yeah, look, I don't think she's far away from a podium. In Assen, she wasn't far away. She made a mistake into turn 1. So she didn't finish the race. Sunday in a reverse grid, I think she started 13th and finished 6th. She's good. 1 point behind 8th. She could have jumped up to 5th in the championship, but she didn't. That's part of racing. If you don't take the chance, you don't go forward. So, yeah, she's really impressed us with her pace and how she's got onto it now. So, Brands Hatch next weekend, the final round. I'm sure she definitely will stay in the top 12 and be there next year. So, yeah, we're going to look at this new thing and it's not a manufacturer that's trying to take control of things again.
No, it's actually that
it's got promoted by privateers looking for a way to go forward, and it'll be a good step for the guys from Polo Cup to step up into the GTC sort of ranks, and then it opens a door with cars that'll become available for karters and youngsters to come into Polo.
So you've got a proper stepping stone,
there looks like there will be a stepping stone going forward from next year. From what we worked out at the first meeting that we had about it, us all privately, looks like we could come up with 10 cars.
Yeah.
So these cars, just apparently, I'm told, and the picture that I saw, they look frickin' amazeballs.
Yes.
Wings, wide arches, kind of like a TCR car on steroids. I'm super excited, and I'm been talking to too many race drivers that come out of Germany. You've got to talk about Super. Super is fantastic, Gary. I think it's going to be absolutely magnificent. And there's a manufacturer that's committed to 2 other cars in GDC 1. Yeah. I don't know if we're allowed to say that. We're not going to mention who it was. And then another manufacturer who was on the brink of making a decision on Saturday.
Yes.
We are led to believe, look, it's exciting stuff. Bottom line, racing in South Africa is murava lekker. And it's all up to all of us to have a positive vibe and just be cool about stuff, eh?
Look, I think the way the guys are talking now, they're getting their act together. You could land up next year with 20 or 22 cars on the GTC grid between GDC and GDC2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the new sort of GTC2 platform to try, it's going to be controlled like Polo Cup. There's going to be not an engineer that can out-tune the next one or whatever on ECUs and all that like currently happens.
So at least a driver can come along. He may not have the infrastructure around him, but at least he's got a chance of podiuming.
Well, same.
If he can drive.
Yeah, same engine, same turbo, same ECU management system, same shocks, same springs.
Same, but different?
No, same. Out, all sealed and whatever is what we've asked for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not interested because
sense.
it's not going to be checkbook racing. It'll be a little bit more expensive than Polo Cup, but not a lot more expensive. You might be another 2 tyres on the weekend. The cars are going to be reasonably priced for what you're getting.
And they look lacquer.
Yeah, the initial pictures and stuff that we've seen of them, they look very good. So I believe there'll be one at that Motor Festival in October that the guys can actually see it driven and probably do some testing at Swartkorps or whatever that are interested. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to give us that platform we need. We've got karting, we've got Polo Cup. That's where it seems to stop at the moment. Now there's something for the guys, the teams that are out there, the Pepper Campos teams, the Van Linders, the Signature Motorsports.
There's something for those guys to go.
Maybe they need, like we discussed with the guys, is maybe they each buy a car and they put a driver from the Polo Cup into that who pays us to run them. But it gives us an opening where we can bring a youngster from karting or something into the Polo Cup car, because at the moment there's 30 cars in Polos. They're not going to build more. So unless you got a car, you're not going to go racing.
But that's a good thing about Polo. You know, there was a whole lot of bleating about, this new car is expensive, blah, 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 blah. But the wankers will always bleat. When you've got a limited supply, at least there's somebody who's taken a risk, bought a car, there's still equity and the value stays in the car.
I know. I sold Tasman's car from last year after a season of running for what I paid for the car. So
great investment.
It's the first time I haven't lost a cent on it, on the outlay of equipment. But that's what it's about. There's 30. It's a, I don't know what you say, captive market, and yes, keeps the value of the cars going. And there's no reason why the value can't stay there for years to come.
So this falls in the ladder of talent that we've got. You've got karting, polos, and then GD3. So we need something in between.
Oh, yes, we do. I mean, and we've proved that the kids, all the guys that are over there, the Jordan, the Calvin, the funnel, the other little funnel, Sheldon, and that. Sorry, Sheldy. But they all came through Polo Cup. They came through karting, Polo Cup for a season or two, and left the shores and went overseas and have managed to cut it with the big boys overseas.
And took a risk. So, Gary, it's about that time. What's happening this weekend? Where are we going? What's happening?
Go there because we are getting to that time, and of course there's big things happening this weekend. Number one, we've got some off-road racing happening down in the middle of
Babsfontein. I'm led to believe that you don't need to talk Spanish to talk to a driver because he can talk some pretty good English.
Yeah,
if he's there.
For those of you that get there, if you know your Spanish, go and meet the driver.
But he may not be there, apparently.
I said if he's there. Okay.
Apparently word is that officially that they don't want to say anything because they don't want him to be swamped. Because last time they went testing in this place that is somewhere, there was a Spanish waiter in the restaurant, and the Spanish waiter, being Spanish, recognized a hero. So quickly make a phone call, hola, and called all his mates, and all the Spanish from
Africa arrived.
They arrived and formed a queue. Yeah, there was Uppington. So there's off-road racing, and you and I have got a 5 o'clock call on Friday morning. Are you mad?
Totally. We got a date with some endurance boys, and it's nice to see a big field. I mean, there's 21 cars going to be down there. So we got some Leisures, we got Ginettas, we got Aston Martins, McLarens, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Nashes, Alfa Romeos, Hondas, and those of you down in East London,
and even a Ginetta GG57.
Yes, and those of you down in East London, make sure you get around there. And for those who don't realize that this type of endurance racing is for those guys, if you want to get into it, you might be able to join Sheldon, Calvin, Jordan one day in the 9 hour, but this is the way to go racing. And if you really want to know how to do it on the cheapie, get old Matt Nash, give him a call. I'm sure he can sort a car out for you, and you'll have the best jolly you've ever had in 18 hours of track time.
Look, I'm looking forward to seeing what Michael Stevens is going to do in that
In the
Aston Martin. Now that it's down at proper BOP spec for the SRO for the 9 hours sort of thing that's running. And then out there as well, I mean, those current GDC2 Golfs.
They would be awesome in endurance.
Yeah, there's a market. The guys that have got those Golfs, I think they're sitting on a little gold mine. Because I think that'll be the right thing to go in this sort of endurance racing, because that VW product does not break. It will run for 6 hours, for 9 hours, for whatever, and it'll just keep going, put tyres and fuel, and the drivers keep going. That, I think, could be a class winner.
Well, similarly, young Dan Angel took his GTC to Honda and put it in endurance racing, and the boys in the pack chasing index of performance non-stop, class-wise, he's up at top, keeps going, and that comes out of GTC2 racing.
We've been talking to somebody from Volkswagen, Mark, trying to convince him to bring a car. But we're not allowed to say who we're talking to, but we will carry on talking to him. Mark, if you're in East London, come say hello to us and we can convince you that it's the coolest thing in the world. So, you at home for the next week?
I'm at home, yeah. We're at home this weekend. And
is Mrs. Pepper at home?
Yes, Mrs. Pepper's at home. Tasman's even at home this weekend. So we're going, Tasman leaves on Wednesday to go to Brands Hatch. I'm going out Friday night. I'll fly out to go and watch her. They're racing on Sunday, not Saturday this time. So, we're going to go and support her for her last round and see what we can do.
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to do what I've got to do.
Gary, you do your thing. Ian Pepper, breeder of speedy kids, and damn fine, all-round nice guy. Thank you very much for accepting our production department's invitation. We know they screw up often. You're a gentleman, a scholar, and for sharing your knowledge to everybody. Thank you so much. Please come back.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, and we'll definitely be back again. It's I enjoy coming and sitting and talking. It's not like a normal TV interview. We can laugh and listen to the Oaks and watch them after their 5K run eat boerewors rolls next to us, and they don't.
That was so inconsiderate. Just over here at the higher ground, Sinstithians, thank you, Mark, and your guys. You can go and run. That's with a feet and all of the rest of it. And then they come in, they drink beer here, and they make boerewors, and the wind is blowing this way, not on. Are you also ready for a boerewors?
I'm ready for a boerewors roll. But thanks, guys, for having us again. And I'm looking forward to what you got planned for your 100th show. I think we must fill this place with all your heroes and zeros and whoever's been around there. And guys, stick around, give them their comments, and let's get it together and keep this going for another 100.
Ian, thanks for reminding us that around about beginning of October will be our 100th show. We're trying to fill this place with people who love racing, who've taken some effort and time and been gracious enough to come and talk to us. If you would like, it's early days. Our planning department has to get onto it. Legal's got to get onto it. And so has personnel, because personnel, they're full of it. Anyway,
Geordie, I hope you had a great day today, boy.
You going to go home and have a birthday cake for him?
No, I'm going home to sleep. I'm tired after this last weekend.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us on Geordie Pepper's birthday. That's it for episode 90 of Waved Yellow. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Join us on Friday morning when we are in Slummies for the South African Endurance Series. Be safe, be lekker. Cheers.